I broke my derailleur. No idea why that happened. I was just riding along, very chill, and then it just got caught in the spokes somehow and pulled it off. Yeah, I'm gonna try to fix it while we cross on the boat, and then, yeah.
By fix it, of course, I mean give it to my dad to fix.
It'll be good as new. Push it together.
Welcome to Cranking It, yeah, we cranking it. Welcome to Cranking It, yeah, we cranking it.
The Carretera Austral is a 1,250-kilometer highway that runs through southern Chile, from the city of Puerto Montt in the north, deep into Chilean Patagonia, and ending up in the village of Villa O'Higgins in the south. My dad and I headed out to ride it together at the end of January, late in the southern summer. Leaving Puerto Montt, we headed south along the waterfront. For the first few days, we rode by small fishing villages, around inlets, and alongside small islands. The coastline here is broken up by fjords and mountains, which means a few ferry crossings are necessary before the highway heads inland. The first ferry was pretty chill, just a quick 45-minute fjord crossing. We headed to the front of the line and were directed onto the boat. On the other side, we were treated to more quiet paved roads and clear sunny skies. In the distance, we began to see the first snow-capped mountains. We arrived at the town of Ornopiren, where we would be taking the second ferry of the route, this one much longer and more complicated.
Hey, good morning. It's a rainy day here, but that's all right. So we're headed to the first long ferry. We got our tickets in advance. You got to get your tickets way in advance. But we only have passenger tickets because there is no space left for vehicle tickets. So we don't have our bicycle tickets, but we're hoping that they'll let us on anyway because bikes don't really take up that much room. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
It turned out we didn't have to worry. As soon as loading started, they just motioned us on board.
Hello.
The Ornopiren ferry is actually a two-parter. It starts with a 4-hour ride along a couple of inlets, followed by a 10-kilometer stretch of highway, and then a second 45-minute ferry across a fjord. It was on that 10-kilometer stretch, just before the second ferry, that disaster struck. My derailleur got caught in my spokes and was ripped off of my frame. The strategy was to straighten out the cracked piece and then tie an extra Allen wrench to it with dental floss to act as a splint.
Alright, we got it installed. Took it for a test ride. It seems like it's working. It only has to make it 60 kilometers to Chaiten, and then there seems to be a bike shop there. Hopefully we can get a new derailleur.
Well, you're making it up the hills.
Yep. Alright, so we got it back up and running. For now, it seems to be working. Taking it easy and trying not to stress it too much. I guess I got pretty lucky. I was lucky that I was close to the ferry when it broke so that I could just walk on. I was lucky that my dad is here so he could use his skills to patch it together. Definitely feels like I'm near the end of the trip, you know? The bike is literally being held together with zip ties and dental floss.
After disembarking, we found ourselves deep in a temperate rainforest. Back in the 90s, Douglas Tompkins, the founder of the outdoor gear company North Face, started buying up large tracts of Patagonia wilderness in order to preserve them. After his death in 2015, his foundation gifted the land to the Chilean government to be formed into national parks. This stretch of the Carretera Austral crosses through one of those parks, the Pumulin-Tompkins National Park. The next day, we got to Chaiten, where a local bike mechanic swapped out my old derailleur for a new one, and we were back on the road.
Perfecto. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, debería andar bien.
The dense temperate rainforest gave way to more developed open farmland, which, while less wild, allowed for amazing views of the distant snow-capped mountains. We were done with ferry crossings for now, and the highway followed valleys along wild rivers, over low passes, and through small farming villages.
Skull there.
All right, well, it's a pretty rainy day today. Another rainy day, which is not great, but not terrible. It's not cold, and you know, we're still on pavement, so we're making good progress. The one thing I am missing, though, is the nice views. All the high mountains are blocked in by clouds at this point, so everything is just sort of misty and gray. But you know, the rain is the price you pay for riding somewhere that's not the desert. And that's something I'll pay anytime.
Riding in the rain is just part of life on the Carretera Austral, but after a full day of being wet, it's nice to spend a night warm and dry.
How does it feel?
Great. It's nice and warm and dry. You know?
The next day, the weather cleared up, and so we rode in the sun along a fjord shore before climbing another pass into Coyhaique National Park. Back in the mountains, the highway continued to showcase some of Patagonia's most impressive scenery. Long distances between towns meant that the forests and rivers remained unspoiled, and we had to make sure to bring enough food for several days.
Alright, well, I guess it's just some end of the trip shenanigans here. I think these tires are about worn out, I got them in Costa Rica, so I guess they've got me pretty far. I was hoping I wouldn't have to change them before the end, but they're not looking so good. Also, I seem to have gotten a nail in my tire, so...
Once the nail was removed and the inner tube replaced, we continued on our way. Fortunately, we were close to Coyhaique, the capital of the region and the largest city on the highway. Before getting there, however, we had to ride through another rainstorm. We dried out at a rural guest house, where the host introduced us to Patagonia's favorite infusion, mate. After taking mate, we headed to Coyhaique, where I got a new pair of tires. Coyhaique sits at about the midpoint of the Carretera Austral. It had taken us about 9 days to reach it from Puerto Montt, so we figured we had about 9 days left to go. Shortly after leaving the city, we rode through Cerro Castillo National Park. Cerro Castillo means Castle Hill, so we searched around for a mountain peak that seemed castle-shaped. Before long, it became obvious which peak the name was referring to. Not long after leaving the park, the pavement finally ended. Our progress slowed, but the scenery only seemed to become more dramatic each day. As we continued south, there seemed to be more and more tourists, including many driving massive truck-shaped RVs. The road quality was pretty rough, full of large, loose rocks, potholes, and washboard. After a couple bumpy days, we arrived at the Lago General Carrera, Chile's largest lake, which spans the border with Argentina. The lake's water comes primarily from glaciers, and so the water takes on that ethereal blue color. We arrived at the shore town of Rio Tranquilo, where we decided to take a tour of the local geological phenomenon, the marble caverns. The marble caverns were carved by waves over the past 10,000 years after the retreat of the glaciers that created the lake. The surface of much of the marble is pockmarked with small indents from the constant erosion from the waves. A couple small islands have caverns that cross them completely, creating the Marble Cathedral and Marble Chapel monuments.
All right, so week 2 on the road. How's it feel?
This will be week. We're going to start week 3. Yeah, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Here I had this vision of, pedaling along the shore, nice flat, good road, an occasional hill, but it's been a lot tougher than I thought. The roads, especially yesterday and the day before. I mean, really terrible roads. Hard potholes, lots of bad rock and, you know, some pretty steep climbs too.
Yeah.
And some rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one really bad rain day. We got totally drenched in rain. But, you know, today's a wonderful day. The sun's out.
As we headed out of Rio Tranquilo, the road surface started to improve. We continued around the lake, crossed the outflow, and started following the Baker River down towards the sea. At one point, the Baker River meets the silty River Neff, turning its dark turquoise color into a milky blue.
I'm a bit sweaty. Last few days have been pretty nice weather. It's actually gotten hot, which I did not expect. I didn't think I'd be hot ever again for the rest of this trip. Should have good weather for another 3 days or so, and then it's back to the rain, sounds like. Hot weather means it's a bit more dusty on this unpaved road, so that's one downside. Still, the road quality has improved. Dad's doing a lot better. We're about to get to Coyhaique, the last real town on the route. Gonna buy our ferry tickets there to cross the Lago Higgins. Then it's probably just like 4 more days to Vio Higgins and the end of the highway. It's been a pretty nice ride. Really beautiful lakes, rivers, mountains, everything that I was hoping for. The north was a lot more rainy, and you could definitely see the sort of rainforest foliage everywhere. Here in the south, it seems a lot drier, not just because it's not raining, but it's more pine trees, more bare rock, shrub brushes.
The nice weather continued to hold as we made our way deeper into southern Patagonia. The end of the sunny days was forecasted, and with only a few more days to Vio Higgins, we decided to try to make good time. At the bottom of another hill, we caught our final ferry on the Carretera Austral, a short barge trip across a fjord for the final 100 kilometers to Vio Higgins. final stretch of highway, we were helped along by a strong tailwind. With the support of the wind and a bit of extra effort, we rode the final kilometers around a lake and into the O'Higgins.
Fin de la Carretera Austral. Yeah. Hey, we did it.
We did it! The end of the Carretera Austral. 1,240 kilometers, they say.
Next episode will be the last one on this trip. I'll cross back into Argentina and ride across the open, windy Pampa, south to Tierra del Fuego, and finally, Ushuaia.
Hey, Future Alex here. I'm back in the United States, showered, got a haircut, got my old clothes back, and feeling pretty good. Spending a lot of time just chilling, eating a lot of food, and working on wrapping up this video project. Thank you so much for watching episode 18. You know, there are a lot of other cyclists on the Carretera Austral, but none of them were even close to my dad's age. It's pretty impressive to me, actually, seeing how fast we were able to ride through that route, leave another much younger cyclist behind, even on some pretty rough surfaces at times. So super stoked to have my dad riding with me on that section, and he's not even done, you know. Next episode he's gonna continue riding with me for a bit in Argentina and back into Chile again. So really amazing having him along, and I'm super proud of everything he did. Yeah, and thank you so much to everyone who has watched these videos and subscribed and supported me. I have unpublished the Patreon now, so it's no longer possible to sign up, but for everyone who did, thank you so much. And especially thank you to my Crank tier supporters: Judy Friesen, Dan Phillips, Graham Barry Mickle, Kate and Mike Glasser, Jane Hilton, Joji Kojima, Michael Barker, Marion Hinman, Dee Axelrod, Holly and Ed, Sheila and Garth, Ted Chase, Edgar Hernandez, and Tevin Dubois. There will be one more episode on this series, and then I hope to make some episodes talking about gear review, trip review, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then stay subscribed, and thank you so much. See you on the next one.